And I'm excited to present our speaker, Kristiyan Velkov. He's a seasoned software developer, technical leader, Docker captain, tech book author, tech blogger, mentor, speaker, and educator with over 10 years of expertise in front-end and open source technologies. He has conducted more than 350 technical interviews, authored 2 IT books, and holds more than 100 professional certificates. Kristiyan is recognized for his contributions to the developer community through open source projects, educational content, and public speaking. His leadership and mentoring continue to empower developers worldwide. Kristiyan, you have a very impressive background, and it's an absolute honor to have you with us today. How are you doing? Are you excited about the session?
Thank you, guys. I'm really enjoyed to be in this session because this is really opportunity to share with people what is really matter in the front-end interviews and what people are looking for. Because often I saw that many people start learning some technology like React or Angular. They deep dive, and in the end they go to interview and it works. So I'm here to help, here to explain what is really matter when you have such kind of experience and to what and how to prepare.
That's impressive. The stage is all yours. We are curious to learn more from you.
So the agenda and the goal itself will be to answer as much as possible questions from let's say, our group, and to try to see what is my background. We'll have some Q&A session in the end and also closing remark. So little bit more about my profile. Shortly, I'm a front-end developer, passionate about different technologies, including React, Vue, and Angular. Before 10 years, I started like a junior, and back then I was struggle to find the work because I applied for probably 80 companies and I was rejected. So only 2 companies contacted me and tried to communicate, and then I start, let's say, kind of training. It was not a job; it was training. So from the beginning, it was really hard for me. I'm coming from lawyer area, and this is my education. But later on, when I decided to switch to IT, it was really nightmare because I passed successfully a lot of, let's say, local trainings and different courses. In the end, I feel like I'm not enough to start working like a junior. So back then, I decided to ask a question which everyone should ask in some, let's say, period of life. And the question is, what people they know which I don't, and they get bigger jobs, bigger salaries, and better opportunities. So to be able to answer this question, I start digging more and more and more. And shortly, I realized that front end is one part of the piece. It's not anything if you don't have a backend, if you don't have people working with, and also good product. So I start learning more and more and more and things, and now I have a lot of experience in React, Angular, Vue, people management, grouping people, teaching people. Also, before 2 months, I applied for Docker Captain program, which is highly recognizable program, and the top tech people are part of it. Only 300 people around the world are part of it. So I'm really proud about that because this is kind of remember me that before 10 years, I couldn't believe that I can accomplish anything. Now I'm a Docker captain and speaking here. So what I'm saying that because I believe everyone can do what he wants, but behind that, it's really, really a lot of learning, a lot of hard work, and also people. So yeah, I have the 10 years of experience. I'm a speaker, mentor, also contributor with a lot of open source projects. And if you go to the Docker docs, you can see that my React guide Right now it is posted. So that is really nice to see that people see your value and try to support you. As we already mentioned, I did more than 350 interviews and also forming people, squads of people. I hire different roles like a juniors, a medium developer, also juniors, seniors, technical leads, and principals. So I have variety of questions which can be asked. And also I have a lot of certifications. Shortly is that. So about my publications, I try to be as much as possible supportive to the community because I believe it's not about what you know, but it's about do you help someone? And this is my goal, to support and help as much people I can in my job so their lives will be easy and they will learn something new. As you can see, I post regularly in Medium. Also, I have big connections in LinkedIn, and this year I started a newsletter, which is only for front-end topics, and highly recommend you to go and subscribe for it. You can find it here in the chat. And there, what I'm doing is try to make really serious topics in the front end to be easy to understand and people to learn it easily. Also about my books, as you can see, I'm author of 2 really nice books. Of course, I'm saying that because I written them, but the books really are nice because I saw that people are buying them and sharing a lot of good feedback for the books. And the first book is React Interviews. What is my idea behind this book? It's to go to all of the concepts of React, which each developer should know to be prepared for a React interview. And what I did is thinking like, okay, if I'm a junior, if I start to learn React and I go to interview, usually what people do is to go and see some course will be for juniors, but we don't have a courses for seniors, and this is kind of problem itself. So what I did is to create this book, Mastering React.js Interviews, which is covering a lot of topics. It's up to date to the new technologies in React, and also it's written with React 19, the latest version. And in the end, the idea is this to be the first part of the books, which will cover the interviews. So I'm preparing right now the book, which will be more for seniors, only for seniors and technical leads, which will go deep in the security, performance optimizations, these topics, which it's for seniors. But if you are a junior and you want to prepare for interview, highly recommend you this book because it's up to date with the new technologies, including everything what you need, and also the feedback is very positive. TypeScript core utility types, it's one of my favorite books because it's first. And also what I did is that if you go to the documentation in TypeScript, you will see that the core utility types, which is not easy topic, it's just 1 page. And I try to be as much as, let's say, helpful for people. So I grab all of the core utility types, and my book is 70, 80 pages. So you can compare based on documentation and what I did in this book. What I did is go deep. I did research, and also I try to combine different utility types. And this is the normal way how developers do the things. So not just to show you an example, and that is, but going through a lot of examples with combinations with different utility types, best practices, and also where people struggle. And for our lovely community today, I give you a promo code about my books. So if you go to my website here, you can use it to purchase my books if you want. And of course, please do share some feedback because I believe that nothing is perfect if can be extended. So try to write me a feedback. I will try my best to update the books and also to give you and provide you as resources which I have. So Q&A session. And today's session will be focused on several topics. We'll cover general expertise and insights, technical skills and relations, preparation strategies for preparation, soft skills and communication, and also I added the AI and technical tasks. I believe this is the core of the React interview, and if we manage to answer as much possible questions regarding to these topics, in the end will be a really nice talk. So right now is the time. Guys, do not be shy and just start asking questions. Before start asking, there are not stupid questions. Everyone can ask whatever he wants and what he struggles. Believe me, sometimes what you think is stupid can be helpful to someone else. So don't be shy. Ask as much possible questions in your mind.
Thank you, Kristiyan. I want to start with the first question, and it is, you've conducted over 350 interviews. What are some common patterns you've noticed among standout candidates?
So first of all, standout candidates, it's person who will fit to the company. That is the first. Second, very high level of technology knowledge, but also not in the main patterns. He tried to dig deep in the topics like it's really matter. Nowadays, web accessibility, security, performance optimization, these things is must. So outstanding candidate is usually a person who is confident on himself, know a lot, and also I can add that it's fit to the policy and the culture of the company.
Yeah, thank you for answering the question. Ainur is asking, how important is for a junior React developer to have experience with React Memo? How often is it used in production code?
Very good question, by the way. So thank you for. Yeah, React Memo is kind of way to optimize the React application. Back then before, we don't have this opportunity. So React team, what they did is decide to give us ability somehow to optimize in our end the application itself. So they introduced use memo, use callback, memo itself, and etc. So right now, React team and all the people behind, they realize that this is a kind of mistake, because usually what is happening is that people don't go deep in the levels of the optimization in React, so they try to use memo and use callback everywhere. And this, in the end, is leading to slow application rather than to faster application. So they try to remove it nowadays, and they introduce something which will be, let's say, good. And this is automatically way to add use memo and use callback in your application. So to answer shortly, before 1 year, it's crucial. Right now, it's not.
Thank you for answering the question. Another question from Yamuna. From Yamuna. What does people look for in an entry-level front-end engineer?
They are looking for passion. They are looking for at least something which is, I know the basic, but the basic is meaning the core React concepts. And they are looking for someone who can be trusted and also potentially good developer. And here it's advice. Always think like, if I apply for a job and someone also apply to this job, how I can be better? In that case, if you're intern or you want to start a career in React.js, I highly advise you to start exploring Git, to create some demo project, to try to experiment a little bit. So this is beneficial.
Thank you. Another question from Hee-jung. What are AI-related interview questions or tasks asked for?
So nowadays, everyone is speaking about AI. AI is everywhere, and that is the reality. When we are talking about AI, we're not asking about specifically AI models or ability, let's say, to create such kind of models. More like we are asking how the people interact with AI, how good it is. Many developers and also many people doing interview, what they do is don't allow people to use internet or Google or AI. What I'm doing usually is that before starting the interview, I explain to the people that if they don't know something, that is absolutely fine, and I will test them how fast they can find the information. Because usually in our daily life job, it's we are searching for solution. So I don't see a point to avoid using Google or internet or AI in interviews. So this topic AI, each of us should adopt and unfortunately or not, should start learning AI and interact with it. Because this is like a new era which can change everything. And believe me, AI will not replace your job, but someone with skills with AI will.
Hey, Kristiyan, thank you for answering the question. We do having a question from Angie. She's asking, what do you look for a mid-level React developer?
So for mid-level React developer, usually it's a person who knows the basics and some advanced concepts. Usually can work alone, but is need guidance of senior developers. Also do some production projects, 1, 2, or more, and also willing to be a senior. Yes.
Thank you. We're having more questions. What advice would you give to someone who feels confident in coding but struggle with interview anxiety or imposter syndrome?
Yeah. Unfortunately, if you want to beat the fear, go there. Just fear. That is the reality. Before many years, I was struggle to speak in public, and I was shocked because usually I'm a kind of person who can talk easily with people, but when I go to a stage, I was blocked. And what I realized after reading so much books in different topics about that, the fear is something normal. We are humans. This is absolutely normal. What you should do is just practice. What I advise people is that before going to lovely job, try to different jobs. So before going, for example, to interview to Google or let's say big company, try it with some small companies just to see what is the interview process, how confident you are, what is struggle to answer, and these kind of things. Yeah.
Great point. Yamuna, if I'm React developer, should I learn Angular, Vue, or just dive deep into React? Which one companies will prefer?
So depending on this answer, it depends on your role. Usually, if you learn something different, will be beneficial in the end for you. Why so? Because before, let's say 5 years ago, Angular it was so popular. Angular it was crushing it. But also React started getting popular and popular. And nowadays, if you are, let's say, coming to front end, probably you will start with React because it's such popular tool. But Angular is here and Vue also. So shortly to answer this question, it's up to you. If you are interested to learn Angular, which is perfect framework, or going to Vue, which is really, really good, you should just give a passion or try. Don't be like, I'm doing React, Angular is shitty, but you never try React or Angular. I hear many people fighting about that, and I don't understand because in the end, what is important is a tool. So React is a tool, Angular also is a tool. And usually I give some example, which is stopping the conversation and the fight, and that is If you want to go to race, usually you will not buy a truck, but you will buy a sport car. And vice versa. If you have a sport car and you want to, let's say, move something which is big, probably the sport car will be not a good choice. So depend on the case, depend on the companies. Just understand that both of these frameworks and libraries are really nice and good and supported. That is the most important part, supported. Why I know both of them? Because I switch a lot of things. I should know them because we have different projects with different technologies. If you are middle, probably it's a good idea to see different things, but there are a lot of varieties. And that is the problem nowadays. Back then, it was hard to find resources. Nowadays, it's hard to find the right resources. So if you are a front-end developer doing with React, probably it's a good idea to think what will help me to be a better React developer. And if the answer is Angular, which is not, then try something different. Like, okay, what React are using? They are using, let's say, global stores. Should I learn Zustand or React Toolkit or Mobix? Yeah, just go with something. But usually what I advise my developers is, doesn't matter what you learn, just learn and keep the rule 1 hour per day. It's your time to learn. Our job is learning, not stop learning. So if you are interested in Angular, go forward. Yeah.
Thank you, great advice. I do have booked every day 1 hour after work for learning, and this is very good advice. It's important for developers to always stay on track.
Yes.
Another question we have from Mariya is, how can candidates stand out if they come from non-traditional backgrounds, like boot camps or career changers? A lot of our members are from non-traditional backgrounds.
Me also, I'm aware. So how? Be better. Learn what is needed. Be proactive. Try to learn the things. And don't afraid that you're coming from different area. This is nothing. If you're passionate for something, I believe if you spend a lot of hard work and you spend a lot of time to understand the technology, this topic from where you are coming is not important. Personally, I did interviews for several people with different backgrounds, like doctors, like people in doing construction. The last guy who I interviewed, it was doing buildings, and he was great. Yes. So doesn't matter the previous your roles. If you learn the basics, if you are competent, and if you try to understand what the technology is doing and how, I'm pretty sure this is not important for the companies.
Thank you, Kristiyan. Amazing. We're having a question from Warren. She's asking, is backend knowledge needed?
Yes. Unfortunately, it's yes. Why? Let me give you some intro about that. I start like a front-end developer. I was junior. And back then, what is happening is that backend developers, it was much value. They have much value than me. Why so? I don't know. Probably because Java it's too old and they have a lot of, let's say, knowledge. I don't know, but I feel like that. And I realize if I want to be a good front-end developer, my role is to communicate with the backend. And to be a good front-end developer, this is meaning at least to understand what backend is doing, to be able to create proper contracts, to be able to require. Because what I saw in my projects and different companies that we have a TL or team lead who is backend developer. And here he tried to somehow tell to the front end what the application should look like. Nowadays, the game is changed. We are doing front end for backend, not vice versa. So backend should provide you what is needed in the front end, the at least amount of information, not the big let's say, whole of JSON, and you can do whatever you want. This is wrong, believe me. Yeah, it's not bad practice. It's really bad practice, sorry. So what usually you should do is to try to communicate with the backend developers, to create your contracts with them, to see your application, to see what you will need for the backend, and then to tell them, please do the contract. Usually they will say words like, okay, we can do it, because they are nice guys, but can be different way. They can say, okay, I will send you a whole JSON of the database, do whatever you want, you are a front-ender, map the resources in the front end. Yeah, guys, nowadays everything is going back to the servers. This is the reason why we should do front-end in a way which is less consuming, because devices is getting really powerful, but not so powerful like the servers. So to be able to communicate properly with the front end and back end, you should know at least amount of information of the back end. And when I learned that, it was so easy to communicate with them because we speak in one language. I ask that, they know that I'm knowing backend. I'm not a backend developer, but I know the basics. So at least I know what to require. And later on, we start working like a really professional team because this is the connection. Hope this answered the question.
Amazing answer. Thank you so much. Another question from Pradnya. She is interested in React and has worked on multiple React personal projects, but recruiters do not consider it as the React experience. Can you share your advice how to convince recruiters?
So let's start from the problem itself. You did a lot of things in React, but usually recruiters count what you did based on the professional experience. What is professional experience? You work the same work you did in your project, but in the company. That is the big difference. And usually recruiters are not the technical people. They don't understand what you did. They understand and they require what some technical lead or person hiring tell them. What you can do is to continue building such kind of projects and also try to be politely asking, do the technical lead will be able to see my work? To skip somehow the recruiters, to go directly to the technical lead. And this is highly available chance because in the end, we are persons who understand the technical part. The recruiters is just searching. Another way will be to accept that you don't have a professional experience, but not stop learning, continue growing. In the end, people will see that you have a very good background, you did amazing things, and someone will notice you. To be honest, if I compare my experience, it was really, really, really hard to start like a front-end developer rather than to switching for junior to middle, middle to senior, and growing in the roles. So I understand your pain. I understand how tough can be, but don't quit. Just continue.
That's amazing answer. Thank you so much, and it's very inspiring. We do having our questions for you. So,
Yeah.
how much is data structure and algorithms important for front-end developer interviews?
It's not. Shortly, it's not. I did an article about that. Do algorithms and let's say can help some front-end developer? They can, but depending on the role. I saw many bad examples how junior developers was asked about algorithms and code improvements and these kind of things. It's bad practice. It's not needed. Why? Because usually you are going to interview, people are asking different questions like you are applying for Google, and in the end you go and do something from Figma. What algorithms in there? That is the question. So algorithms are needed. I can say that they're not needed for different roles. For example, if you're a junior, middle, developer, probably algorithms will be not so needed, because in the end, what you are doing, it's not the thinking of the big whole problem. Algorithms are there to solve something which is already solved in better way. So imagine you want to, let's do some operation which is requiring to search in many fields, to combine a lot of data, and etc. Yeah, then this kind of information is needed. But if you are just a front-end developer who is working on implementing websites, no need of them. Depend on the work. If you are front-ender in, let's say, some app which is doing AI and these kind of things, can be. But probably the better way will be to learn the solid principles rather than algorithms, because this is what you need in daily life. And of course, this is my opinion. I can be absolutely wrong.
Great advice, thank you. Can you recall a time when a candidate's mindset or attitude made a bigger impact than their code?
Yes. Keep in mind that half of the interview is how you interact with the people. A lot of people think that the interview itself is just technical. You see some people, they are looking really bad on you, they don't know you, you don't know something, they are looking strange. Yeah, that is not the reality. Usually the interview is a process which, and this is very, very good point to remember. The interview person not do interview on you only. You do interview on the company with him. So keep in mind that if the interviewer is not good enough and the questions are not appropriate, or the guy itself is looking strange and don't answer you of questions which he is asking, this is a really red spot on the company itself. Keep in mind that. So technical interview is, let's say, vice versa process. We do interview on the person doing interview on us. And if this is the mentality of the people doing interview, usually this will be the starting point. Usually what I'm doing, I ask a question. If the person don't know the question, I answer to him why this is like that. Explain to him why. And I believe this is the process should be. So attitude is something which is really, really important in the interview, because if you're kind of person who don't care, you come here because you don't know why, or we are asking question and you are answer differently, or we correct you and you tell us that that is not true, believe me, will be bad. Why? Because no one with people who are rude, no one with people who are not have attitude or at least respect to the rest. So like advice, be yourself. The best version of yourself is the best possible way to be in the right spot in the interview. Because if you lie on interview, usually different countries have regulations, and later on you can lie. So be yourself, believe on what you can, and don't afraid to say no. What we are doing, and people don't understand that, is that we're starting from something simple, and based on the answers, we progressively continue to see where is the limit of the person. And when we hit the limit of the person, we understand how we can, let's say, work with this person, or what role he fit it. So if you say to something no, it's better than trying to explain in different words, in different manner, something which you don't know. And also keep in mind that usually the interview process is limited. You have 1 hour. You don't have unlimited questions. So person behind try to understand in 1 hour, first of all, who you are. Second, what is your attitude? Do you fit to the company needs? And also how good you know the technology, or let's say the technologies which will help us to grow. Yeah. That is.
Thank you, Kristiyan. Such a great advice. We're having a question from Angie. She's saying, design patterns knowledge, best way to prepare for design interview questions.
So, back then, of my experience, I started fighting with designer souls. Why? Because designers are really nice persons. Usually, they are kind of the, let's say, the spirit of the company. They do a lot of magics, and in the end, someone front-end developer usually going in the angle and start crying. That is the sad reality. So usually it's good practice to start understand design itself. Why? Because if you understand the steps behind the design itself, design is not just to put one button in the Figma and to say I'm ready. Usually before design we have a lot of phases, like what client need, what will be useful for the client customers, how to make the design so nice and easy so will be used for a lot of people. Do it for web accessibility. Where to put what, like reusable components and etc. So back then I realized that I was completely lost because our designers do what they want and they come to me and say that, okay, this carousel is very nice. I like the 3D effect, but they don't know that this is 3GS and we are doing React. And if we want to do this, we can, but not in 2 days. So unfortunately, I try to understand the design and try to learn it to be able to communicate with the people. And see, the point is not to be the designer. The point is to talk to designers. So I don't put so pressure on me to start to be a better designer or to be Figma master. No, just to understand what they did. Hope this answer.
Thank you. You already asked the question how important is backend experience. So we are continuing to the next question. What advice would you give to a woman who has put her career on hold to take care of her family and wants to return to work to improve her chances in an interview?
Very beautiful question. Thank you for asking. So usually I will speak, let's say, open. It's hard. It's really hard because this is usually in Bulgaria, it's 2 years. I don't know around the world how it is, but in Bulgaria, it's 2 years. And I had a chance to work with a lot of ladies. They are great. They are doing really good. The performance is great and etc. But what try to teach people is that the work is important. Of course it is, but to have a family, to have something which we will left in after the work, it's more important. So what we are trying like a culture, this is depending on the policy of the company and etc. But this should not be blocker for your career. Usually what is happening, and this is the brutality of the business, unfortunately this is the reality. I said that I will be honest, so I will be. Usually, when a lady which is technical lead going to maternity leave and later on return, usually she will be downgraded. Why will she be downgraded? Probably because not of her knowledge, but more like these 2 years someone should do the job she did. So unfortunately, after returning to work, first of all, it's pressure on her because she remember how hard it was and also how put effort she put on her to work better, to work in, let's say, environment which more men are working. So you should fight on both sides, not to be a woman, to be a worker, to be a mother, a lot of things. So usually what we are trying to do is try to respect the person, try to see what it's the passion of her, can change the mind, probably 2 years a lot of time, so a lot of people change the field itself, but also we are trying to support them and to give these thoughts that the end is not finished with 1-2 years break. I saw many people who did a lot of breaks, and that is not the time cure. It's just opportunity to think on your, let's say, mental health and also what you want for this life. Yeah, hope this somehow answered the question.
Thank you, Kristiyan, for your honesty and advice. We're having a question from Veronica. She is asking, there are a lot of senior positions on the market, but not as many junior positions. What are
Yes.
your thoughts on contacting a company through email or LinkedIn to show your interest in the company and interview with them? Any advice on what they want to hear? In this case, best chances of hearing back.
So yes, our market is hard right now, and fortunately, we don't have a lot of open positions for juniors, and this is globally, not only in Bulgaria. What you can do is to be proactive. Try LinkedIn. If you don't have a LinkedIn, go and create right now LinkedIn. Why? Because if you want to find someone, probably he has internet and he has a LinkedIn. This is the most powerful work social, let's say, platform. I'm not promoting LinkedIn. I'm not sponsored from LinkedIn, but it's work. So go there. Usually, what I'm doing is try to contact the person itself. When I started like a junior, I waited. I wait someone to contact me. I waited someone to see me, someone to say that I'm a great person, and etc. This is not the reality, and this is not the business world. Usually, people have less than 1 hour to see your potential, and if you are proactive, you already show them something. So go contact them, send emails. Of course, keep in mind that these emails should not be more than one or two, because I have a bad experience. One guy sent us 15 emails that he want to apply for our job, and unfortunately, we don't have this job at all. So it was spam somehow. So I should contact him on LinkedIn and say that, guy, we are searching senior front-end developer. We are not searching Python developer. Okay. So keep in mind that proactiveness is good thing if you're doing it in the right way. Try to be polite, try to contact the person. Also, HRs in the LinkedIn. Usually recruiters, the 90% of the time they spend in LinkedIn. So create a LinkedIn. Also highly advise you to structure your LinkedIn profile in a way which will be visible and you can spot the person experience really fast. We spent only 2-3 seconds on someone. So if your profile is with a lot of information that you so much love front end and you are so passionate about front end, and you put some, let's say, novel in your LinkedIn profile, believe me, recruiters will just crawl. So I'm not saying that I'm LinkedIn expert. I have 30K LinkedIn followers. So I did a lot of mistakes. I learned my mistakes and tried to improve my profile. Highly advise you to go and see what I did, because a lot of recruiters shared with me that my profile is looking good. So based on this feedback, go in LinkedIn, see what I did, contact me. If you want to be a friend, I will be more than happy to help and support, and see what I did. And I will tell you one little story, and that is my brother, it was a lawyer also. So we managed to make him a front-end developer, and he was struggle to find a job. So I advise him, my brother, the same advice. Go see what I did, do it again in your profile, spot what is important, and that is. And he managed to find a work. I'm not saying that this is working 100%, but at least you can try.
Great advice. Thank you. We have a question from Luam. She has upcoming technical interview using React and TypeScript, and she is not familiar with TypeScript. Is there any way to familiarize herself with TypeScript in the short time?
Buy my book. No, I'm kidding. My book is good resource to understand the TypeScript basics and also the core concepts, but the best way is to go to the documentation. Documentation, it's really nice, let's say, nice Microsoft. Well then, so you can go and just cover the basics. But TypeScript is must. We are not asking, do you know how TypeScript? You should. So go learn it, because nowadays each application is using TypeScripts or more of them. And this is help us to fix what JavaScript can't somehow. So highly advise you to go to documentation. Also, Maximilian did a lot of great courses about TypeScript. I recommended it. If you go to Udemy, you can buy it. And yeah, just read on trusted resources. Usually this is the documentation itself, authors which are respected in the community, and don't spend so much time to learn everything. This is really important, guys, believe me. Don't try to remember or learn everything in documentation. The documentation is there, will be not gone after 1 hour. The documentation itself, it's your resource to find how should be if you don't remember. So if you're going like that, you will screen the application, let's say the documentation of TypeScript, and you will know really fast where to find this information. So don't try to be a perfect guy going and understand absolutely everything. It's not possible. We are learning. This is the process of developer. You should learn and work, not just work. And usually, nowadays I'm using a lot of AI tools like Notebook, LM, and also ChatGPT, of course, or let's say Grok. So what you can do is just grab the documentation of TypeScript or ask AI, summarize that, teach me that, and etc.
Thank you, Kristiyan. I definitely gonna get a copy from your book. We having a last question. When you are interviewing people, what are some red flags and green flags you look for from a recruiter perspective? How can I prepare best?
So again, be yourself. I will start with the good part because I saw a lot of bad things. But yeah, I will mention some examples, but let's start from the what is important. So first of all, be yourself. Second, try to not be something different in a way that you pretend to the interviewer how much you know. If something the interviewer did wrong, tell him, but respectfully. Also, try to be good looking guy. What I mean, it's not to be different. You can be absolutely everything what you want, but for example, don't go drunk in the interview. Don't go, let's say, after safari in the interview, and this is common. Yeah, and also the good flag, the good, really good flag is that you did something. You show the people that technically you did something, you know how to use it, you know how to implement it, or at least you try to support the community. So do a lot of open source projects, blogging, video, let's say, tutorials or whatever you know, and also do this not only in the internet, because I know that a lot of people are afraid to talk to public. Start with your company. Just group your friends in the company and tell them, okay, I learned today TypeScript. We don't know TypeScript. I will do a presentation. And mention that in the talk of interview. Proactiveness is really green point. What is red point? Red points. So usually when we talk to someone, don't try to stop him talking or to be, I know that, I know that. Believe me, we have limited amount of time to see that you are the best candidate of the role. Bad point will be that you waste my time and try 20 minutes to answer a question, which is simple. Don't do that. Or if I try to stop the conversation, it's not because I don't want to listen, it's because I have limited amount of time to see what you know. So if I ask, for example, what is use memo, and you try to explain me 50 minutes about use memo, probably I will stop you. Just because I have a lot of questions to ask in short amount of time. So to stop someone, It's not a problem, believe me. I will say that, okay, I see that you know that, let's stop here. I will continue with different questions. And if the guy back in the screen or wife try to avoid me, this is really a red flag. So a red flag also can be that you are lying. I saw one guy CV, and in the wife it was different. So don't lie, guys. Yeah, it was different person. I did a lot of interviews for Vietnamese and appear a different person for Vietnam. Yes. And I can say a lot of stories about bad interviews. Yeah, a lot of stories. I will create a book about that. But yeah, just be yourself.
That's the best advice. Thank you so much. And thank you, Kristiyan, for sharing such a valuable insights and the real world experience with us today. We hope that everyone who joined is living with clear understanding of how to stand out from showcasing your technical strengths to emphasizing your mindset and communication skills. Remember, interviews aren't just about solving problems, they're an opportunity to show how you approach challenges, collaborate with others, and continue to grow. And we are thankful to have experienced developers and leaders like Kristiyan who are willing to share their knowledge with us. Stay curious, keep sharpening your skills, and most importantly, believe in your unique journey as a developer. Thank you so much, Kristiyan, for being part of this session today, and thank you to everyone who joined. We hope that you enjoyed it.